The crystalline halls of the Celestari diplomatic vessel hummed with an energy that Marcus had never quite grown accustomed to. 3 years as humanity's ambassador to the Galactic Council, and the alien architecture still made his earthborn sensibilities ache with its impossible geometries. Lady Isabella of House Velthari stood before the viewing portal, her luminescent skin casting soft purple shadows across the obsidian floor. She was considered one of the most beautiful beings in the known galaxy, a sentiment echoed across a dozen species and 100 worlds. Her kind, the Celestari, were masters of biotechnology, capable of sculpting their own genetics into living art. Isabella represented the pinnacle of 4,000 years of such refinement. "You're late, Ambassador Stone," she said without turning, her voice carrying harmonics that most species found intoxicating. Marcus set down his data tablet. The council session ran long. The Crix delegation is still protesting humanity's inclusion. Of course they are. Isabella finally turned, her opalescent eyes meeting his. "You're primitive, barely 500 years into space travel. Your lifespans are laughably short. Your technology," she gestured dismissively, "adequate at best." "And yet, here I am," Marcus replied, a slight smile playing at his lips. This was their dance. For 6 months, since Marcus had been assigned to shadow Isabella's diplomatic corps, they had engaged in this peculiar battle of wits. The Celestari noblewoman seemed obsessed with cataloging humanity's inferiorities while simultaneously seeking Marcus's company at every opportunity. Isabella moved closer, her flowing robes defying gravity in the way only Celestari garments could. "I've been studying your species, Marcus. It's perplexing." "Oh? You're aware that I'm considered desirable?" It wasn't boasting, merely fact. Marcus nodded carefully. "In my 4 centuries, I've had suitors from every major species. The Crix warlords have written poems. The Zenthari philosopher kings have built monuments. The merchant princes of Aldebaran have offered me entire star systems." She paused, standing now close enough that Marcus could see the subtle bioluminescent patterns shifting across her skin. "And yet, you, a human whose entire lifespan is barely a fifth of my current age, you've never once indicated interest." "I wasn't aware I was supposed to," Marcus said quietly. Isabella's laugh was like wind chimes. "You misunderstand. I'm not offended. I'm fascinated." She reached out, her fingers hovering near his face. "Touch me," she whispered. "You'll forget every other woman." It was a promise that would have been true for nearly any species. The Celestari were masters of biochemical attraction, pheromone manipulation, and sensory pleasure beyond what most civilizations could imagine. Marcus gently caught her wrist before she could make contact. "No, I don't think I would." For the first time in 6 months, Isabella looked genuinely shocked. "Explain." "Your beauty is genetic engineering," Marcus said, not unkindly. "Perfected over millennia. Your species removed every flaw, every imperfection. You're a masterpiece by design." "Yes," Isabella said slowly. "And this displeases you?" "It doesn't displease me. It's just—" Marcus struggled for words. "Humans are different. We find beauty in imperfection, the gap in someone's teeth, the scar from a childhood accident, the way someone's eyes crinkle when they laugh. These things can't be designed. They're earned through living." Isabella withdrew her hand, her expression unreadable. "You're saying I'm not real?" "I'm saying you're perfect, and perfection is—" Marcus gestured helplessly. "Lonely. There's nothing to discover, no surprises, no growth." The silence stretched between them. Marcus wondered if he'd just created a diplomatic incident. Then Isabella did something he'd never seen a Celestari do. She laughed, Not the musical, rehearsed sound they used in social situations, but a genuine, startled bark of amusement. 4 centuries, she said, shaking her head. Countless species. And it takes a human, a species we considered barely sentient 200 years ago, to tell me I'm too perfect. She moved to the viewing portal again, looking out at the stars. Do you know why I truly sought your company, Marcus? To study the primitive species? Because you're the first person in 300 years to look at me and see a person instead of an ideal. She glanced back at him. Your species has a concept. The uncanny valley, yes? That discomfort when something appears almost but not quite human? Marcus nodded. We never understood it. We thought it was a limitation of human perception. Isabella's bioluminescence dimmed slightly. But perhaps you see something we've forgotten. In perfecting ourselves, we've become less than we were. We're beautiful portraits instead of living beings. I didn't mean... No. You're right. Isabella's opalescent eyes fixed on him with new intensity. And that's why your species terrifies the Council, Marcus. Not because of your weapons or your technology, but because in your imperfection, your brief, chaotic lives, your refusal to be anything other than messily, stubbornly human, you remind the rest of us what we've lost in our quests for perfection. Marcus moved to stand beside her at the portal. Is that a compliment or a threat assessment? Both. Isabella smiled, and this time it wasn't the practiced expression of Celestari nobility. It was crooked, uncertain, and utterly genuine. Teach me, Ambassador Stone. Teach me what it means to be imperfect. That might take more than one conversation. I have time. Then, more quietly, and perhaps that's something else I need to learn from humans. That even 4 centuries isn't enough if you're not truly living them. Marcus looked at the alien noblewoman beside him, seeing not the genetically perfected paragon she'd been designed to be, but the curious, lonely person she was choosing to become. Then let's start with something simple, he said. Coffee, earth coffee, properly terrible by any sophisticated palate's standards, but I guarantee it'll surprise you. Isabella's laugh was becoming more human by the moment. I look forward to it, Marcus. Truly. And in that moment, watching the stars together as equals, rather than as perfect and imperfect, they both understood why humanity's greatest strength had never been perfection, but rather the courage to be beautifully, defiantly flawed.